I still remember the night my parents told me to leave. I was 18 years old. No savings. No plan. No idea what I was going to do next. Just a backpack, a few clothes, and a phone with 12% battery. Part 2. A few years after getting kicked out, everything changed. The business I'd spent years building was finally taking off. The long nights. The missed holidays. The sacrifices. They were paying off. At 27 years old, I became a millionaire. I bought my first house. Paid off every debt I had. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't worried about money. Then one day, I got a phone call. A number I hadn't seen in years. It was my mom. I stared at the screen. She hadn't called me on my birthday. She hadn't called when I was struggling. She hadn't called when I was sleeping on couches and working double shifts. But now, she was calling. I let it ring. A few minutes later, a text came through. "We miss you." Then another. "We're proud of everything you've accomplished." A week later, my dad called too. For years, there had been silence. Now suddenly, they wanted to reconnect. At first, part of me was happy. They're my parents, after all. I spent years wishing they'd reach out. Years wondering if they'd ever care. But something felt different. The conversations weren't about me. They were about my house, my business, my cars, my success. Every call felt less like family, and more like an interview. Then one evening, my dad finally said it. "We're family. Family should help each other." The moment he said those words, everything became clear. I remembered being 18, standing outside with a backpack. Nowhere to go. No one helping me. No one asking if I was okay. No one opening a door for me. I built my life from nothing. Not because someone gave me a chance, but because nobody did. A few days later, we met in person. For the first time in years. They smiled. Acted like nothing had happened. Like those years never existed. And then they started talking about money. Investments. Bills. Things they needed help with. I listened quietly. When they finished, I looked at them and said, "When I needed family the most, you weren't there." The room went silent. My mom started crying. My dad looked away. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was just done. I stood up, pulled out my wallet, left enough money to cover dinner, and said, "I forgive you, but that doesn't mean you get a place in my life." Then I walked away. Not because I hated them. Not because I wanted revenge. But because peace sometimes means closing a door that should have never been opened again. The kid they threw out at 18 was gone. And the man who walked away that night finally understood his worth.